Okay, Noah Road here with a preppers video. This here is a video that I wanted to film while I was still here in the area that has one of my buckets buried. These are what I call my preppers buckets, or my bug out buckets. And people can do this even if they don't have a lot of money. Heck, even if they're homeless, or if they live on a disability check and they have a little, efficiency apartment, you could still actually do this, and you don't have to be so intimidated by real expensive bug out plans. Some people, they have homesteads and they really have got a lot of resources to build out a very long-term huge bug out plan, and it can make a lot of us that don't have that ability feel a little bit intimidated and overwhelmed, and we can say, oh geez, well, what can we do if the shit hit the fan? Well, this is something you can do. I do it, and these things work. I have buckets that are buried in the ground for 2 years, and guess what? Not one bit of moisture has ruined anything, and everything is still like, here we go. So everything, it just works. It doesn't get moisture in it. And like here, there's the shovel I use to dig it. You just go to the store, get yourself a couple of 5-gallon buckets and a shovel like that, and find a spot. It could be on your own property if you have 10 acres of land. It could be on a friend's property. You guys can team up and bury these suckers. If the government started, kicking indoors or something like that, heaven forbid, at least you have some stuff that's outside of your house. If you're a man and you don't really trust your let's say you're married and it looks like the marriage is on the rocks, and you want to kind of like have some stuff that's really important to you, you don't want to lose, you can hide it. If you're a person that wants to bug out and you want some, beans, bullets, and ammo, use your imagination with what I mean by that. You can put those things in these buckets. You can, papers and stuff that are important, it does not gain moisture in these things. I've had these buckets for years in rain, sleet, freeze, thaw, snow, etc. And nothing got wet, nothing got moist. You can have supplements, you can bury rope, tarp, socks, blankets, a tent, an extra bug out bag, like a book bag, and have a couple of small knives, flashlight, batteries, all those sorts of things you can bury, beads, bullets, and band-aids, etc. And you can have it as a resource. You could bury it on property that does not belong to you, that's on the outskirts of society, that you can kind of easily get in and fly under the radar with all of this stuff, and you can be really stealth. You could be homeless as long as you have a few bucks to buy some of this stuff, and like a shovel that was probably 10 or 12 bucks. The buckets are about 8, and the stuff that goes in them is pretty inexpensive. And you can do this, anybody, whether you're a homeowner, whether you're homeless, whether you are a low-income person that lives in an efficiency apartment, whether you are on a disability check. You can do this. It's one tool in the arsenal of prepping, and it does work. And I'm gonna open it up here. See, this is a simple one. I've got many buckets though. Like, I got other areas that's got like 5 of these things. I even got a 17-gallon feed bucket, not in this particular town, but in another place. And I keep checking on them, and I've checked on them. They've been buried for over 18 months. And guess what? I've had paper, I've had, coffee that was, the vacuum pack was unsealed and it didn't freeze. It was still like this. It didn't freeze. It didn't gum up or anything. Everything's fine. It works. So I really wanted to pass the torch. I wanted to pass this information on before I leave the area, because I'm probably going to be leaving the area in a few days, and I'm not exactly sure where I'm going, but I'm not going to be around one of my buckets. And I had a couple of videos about the buckets that I filmed, a couple of months ago, but I deleted them because I kind of rambled on and I didn't include some things that I wanted to say. I just says, let me just erase it. So before I go, and before I'm in an area where I don't have any buckets. I want to really, really include this as a sort of tool in the arsenal of prepping. You know, remember, you know, there's a lot of men whose relationships are on the rocks, and they might have certain things that they want to keep that they don't want to lose. Homeless people might want to have, you know, a contingency plan, or low-income people who do want to have a bug-out plan. They might consider doing this as well, because it's pretty inexpensive and you don't have to have your own property to do it. So please, you know, consider this. Anybody, you know, I just really I haven't personally seen anybody doing this. There's prepping videos all over YouTube, and not one person that I have seen, and I've seen at least, I don't know, maybe a couple of hundred easily, prepper videos. And nobody has done this that I personally have ever seen. I'm not saying that there isn't somebody out there that does do this, but I haven't seen it on YouTube. And I haven't heard people talk about low-income people who live in an efficiency apartment. You know, we're not talking about having a few cans of food and a couple of jugs of water. I mean, we're talking about a real serious bug-out plan that's outside of your house, outside of the apartment. It could be on your property if you got, you know, 10 acres of land, and it could be on a friend's property who has more acreage, and you two might really be close, and you might, you know, team up as people who are partner up in a bug out situation. And this is just one idea. I mean, this isn't all ideas as one. This is just one tool in the arsenal when it comes to prepping. Low income people can do this, and you don't have to feel intimidated by people that have these huge homesteads, because that's what we see so often with preppers. And, you know, they don't seem to realize that anybody who's got one of these homesteads, everybody's going to come to them. They're going to have to defend that. The government knows about it if they're putting it out on YouTube. The area that they live know that these people are preppers, you know, so they're not really as secure as it would appear. People that prep like this, like how I'm talking here, and who are used to stealth camping and flying under the radar and kind of scrounging around in the outskirts of a community, that's really a better situation to be in. Maybe not for the first couple of weeks. Somebody with a big homestead might be a little more comfortable, but after our first couple of weeks, when everything really breaks down, people who invested in a giant homestead, they're going to lose that pretty quick, because crazies are going to come in like a flood. The government's going to come in like a flood. A lot of these people are putting videos up on YouTube, and they're not even considering, like, hey, the government that you are so afraid of, if it comes to the point where they're kicking in doors and confiscating guns and resources from people, well, then people that have invested years and lots of money into a big homestead with big prepping plans, they're going to lose that. And what are you going to do? Go come fight the government with a few pop guns? Look, people, you can do this with inexpensive. You could bury 1 bucket, or you could bury 5 buckets. You could bury buckets in one area or in 2 different areas. I've gotten, I don't know, maybe 4 different areas in a 50-mile vicinity that has buckets. One area's got 5 of these 5-gallon buckets and a 17-gallon, you know, feed bucket. They work. I have 2 of these buckets in this area within walking distance. No, actually, no, I got 3. I got 3 buckets in this area. You know, I got 2 buckets in another area, and I got 5 in another, you know. So you can do this, and it doesn't have to be your property, or it could be your property, or you might be, you know, in a shaky relationship where you don't trust your wife, or her wife don't trust her husband, and you can do this and bury this stuff in the ground. Certain things that you might lose in an event of a divorce or in a false accusation, and the cops come and, you know, kick you out of the house or something. You know, you have something to run to. So think about this, people. I want to pass this on. I want to pass the torch. Look at this. You may lose your investment, but so far, if you're good, you know, and you're kind of slick about it, you probably won't. I mean, there it is, man. Just look at that. Nobody has that. I'm the only one on YouTube. You know, come on and give me a thumbs up on this, you know, people. this works. And I've had buckets buried for years, and I've had things in these buckets that would be sensitive to moisture, and guess what? Nothing ever got moist. These things totally work. You can have real sensitive stuff. I could put documents that are really important, paperwork and stuff, money, whatever, and guess what? And it does not get moisture. I've tested it. It works. And you don't have to have money, and you don't have to have a big homestead, and you can still prep. Or even if you have a homestead, you can have this even further out somewhere else, you know. All right, I just wanted to pass that information on. I want to pass this torch on my channel to, you know, people who might be watching my channel in the future. I want this up. All right, so you don't have to have a lot of money to do this. It works, and frankly, I think people that prep this way are probably going to be more secure in the long run than people who invest many thousands or tens of thousands and lots of years in a big giant homestead, you know. And once you start getting a homestead, people start to know too. And if people get desperate and if the shit hits the fan, you know, your homestead is, everybody's gonna, you know, let you do the prepping, and then they're gonna come in and take what you got, you know. But doing it this way, you have a better chance. You know, there's all sorts of ways to stash under the radar, and you'd be surprised that you don't have to have a lot of money to do it. This is one tool in the arsenal. I think it's really handy. It's really clever. I haven't seen it on YouTube. Come on now, give me a thumbs up on this one, or you know, give me a comment, and you know, check out some of my older material too. You know, my shorts, the short videos, and some of my older videos. They might be interested. You know, if you like the content, you know, like and subscribe. All right, Noah Road over and out for now.